Welcome to Psychic Insights, where pop culture meets higher consciousness and the tea is always a little bit mystical. I'm Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and around here we don't just watch the drama unfold. We read the energy behind it, whether it's celebrity scandals, reality TV, chaos, or true crime with a twist. I'm tuning in to bring you the intuitive scoop the headlines miss. So buckle up, because your aura's about to get entertained. Welcome back to my channel. It's Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend. And it's been a minute since I've covered Laura Owens. I'm doing the Love Trapped podcast, but this is specifically Laura. Because, you know, our girl Laura needs a little coverage. All right, so let's talk about what just happened. I've been covering some other things that I've found fascinating, so I'm going to go back to like the Maui doctor trial because that just is cray-cray. Anyway, he's found guilty. So we'll talk about that later. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the Maui doctor trial. Fascinating stuff. Okay. If you've been following this case, however, you already know it's layered and it's emotional and it's complex. And now it's sitting in the legal system in a serious way. You know, Laura's got 14 felony charges she's facing. She was offered a plea deal, and we just had a complex case hearing. And during that hearing, her new attractive attorney requested a 45-day extension on the plea deal. All right, and here's the part that made me pause. Because she was previously represented by a public defender, and now she has a private attorney. So naturally, the questions become, well, what changed? And now there's another layer to this that gets, really important. This 45-day extension isn't just general, and it's tied to a motion to re-examine probable cause, which in simple terms means the defense is looking at whether the charges themselves can be challenged based on the evidence. So this isn't just we need more time. This is let's go back and look at the foundation of this case. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is not small. This is strategic. Let's have some coffee. So you know me. I pulled my Lenormand cards. So I asked a few questions, and not what's just happening legally, but what's happening behind the scenes, because, energetically, strategically, and emotionally, I want to know, right? And I know you want to know. So like and subscribe and ring that bell if this is an interesting kind of way of looking at things, if you don't mind. I'd appreciate it. All right, so let's start with the shift itself, because why move from a public defender to a private counsel? Remember, she's going through bankruptcy and all that. You don't have any money. Like, girl, go to Costco, get a job. You can say, welcome to Costco. Or fold those towels over at, the gym you go to. Anyway, I digress. I'm a little snarky this morning. Haven't had enough coffee. All right, so The question I asked was why the move from the public defender to private counsel? And what we got was, we got the son, we got the man, we got the fish. Fish. All right, and what I'm seeing here is very clear. Very clear. Let's move them in the right order. Well, let's move them in the right order. Okay, son, man, and fish. There's a man connected to it. And it's connected to the financial resources, our little fishy financial resources. Okay. And this doesn't feel like she suddenly had money appear. It feels like access was provided, like someone stepped in. And the sun here tells me this isn't completely hidden energy. There's a sense that this connection or support could become more visible over time. So right away, we're not looking at a simple transition. We're looking at support, influence, and something that may eventually come to light. My feeling is maybe Ron called in a favor or two. We'll see. But somebody is supporting the situation. And then I asked about the money itself because, gotta know. I know what you're thinking. How does someone go from being considered indigent to hiring private counsel? I asked that question. So we went from, we found the snake, lily, and fox. And this is not very straightforward. It's layered, it's complex, it's strategic. The snake tells me that something is winding here, something that's not direct. The lily is bringing in something established, possibly tied to long-term dynamics, family, or the past, just like what I just said about Ron, possibly somebody helping him out, right? And the fox is strategy. It's self-interest. It's what's really going on here. So this doesn't feel like simple support. It feels like there are motives, there's layers, and there's intention behind how this is being handled. All right. And then I looked at the attorney himself. I sure did. A little punchy this morning. All right. And then I pulled clouds, clover, and bouquet. All right. And this is fascinating because the first thing that comes up is uncertainty, the clouds. This is not clean. It's not clear. It's not a clear case in his eyes. But right next to that is our opportunity. Big surprise there, right? And he sees this as something he can work with. And the bouquet tells me he understands presentation. He knows how to position things in a way that is appealing, persuasive, even favorable. So this doesn't feel like blind belief. It feels like strategy, like this is messy, but I see a way through it, which you would hope from a very highly paid criminal attorney, right? So let's talk about the 45-day extension, because this is really the center of everything. First, a sip of coffee. Man, I need some extra today, I guess. All right, then we've got the tower, the stars, and the house. And this is where things start to click, because this doesn't feel like a delay for the sake of a delay, like, what we might expect. This feels more structured, intentional, and strategic, and the tower is the legal system, as we've talked about before. It's authority, process, control. The stars is vision, guidance, and long-term planning. And the house is the foundation. So this 45 days feels like a reset, like stepping back, reviewing everything, including evidence, and asking, does this actually hold? It's rebuilding the case from ground up. This is not stalling energy. This is repositioning. All right, and then I asked, what's really going on? These are all questions you should probably ask yourself, right? What's really going on here? All right. Is this about trial or resolution? And I got mice, letter, and heart. And this is where the emotional energy comes in. So we got the mice, letter, and then the heart. Okay. So this feels kind of draining. And there's stress and there's pressure, and it's being worn down through communication, documents, and negotiation. And the heart here tells me this is personal. This isn't just legal strategy. This is emotional. And we know this is kind of Laura energy, right? And because of this leans towards pressure to resolve rather than confidently pushing through a full trial, which is kind of interesting, right? Because she digs her heels in. So maybe there's this energy between her and her attorney, right? So then I want to understand, is this about truth or this is about strategy? And then we got cross, birds, scythe. And this is intense energy, because whenever we see this guy, really intense, right? And the cross, right? The cross is super, super intense. And there's weight here. There's consequence. There's pressure building. There's a lot of conversation, a lot of anxiety, a lot of back and forth. With that scythe, that's a sudden decision, a sharp cut, a turning point. So this doesn't feel like something that drags on forever. This feels like something that builds and then shifts quickly. I don't think that Christian is a dumb person. I think he's seen it. So maybe maybe the plea deal's going to go through, right? So I finally asked, what's coming next that we don't see yet? I love these questions, right? So we got child, we got moon, we got path. This is a crossroads moment. There's something new that emerges, a new direction, a new phase, and it directly impacts perception. So the moon is how things are seen. This is the narrative, the emotional tone around it. The path, well, that's a decision, a fork in the road. And it feels like a defining moment where a choice is made. And that choice shapes everything moving forward. So if I step back and look at the whole energy, there's support behind the scenes, but it's layered. There's strategy, but it's being built around something that isn't entirely clear. There's emotional pressure, and it's increasing. And there's a pivotal decision ahead, one that likely defines the outcome of the case. And as always, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. If you've been following this case, you probably feel it too. Something is shifting, and we're not at the end of it. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Do you have a question you'd like to ask? Let me know and put it in the comment section, or reach out to me at yourpsychicgirlfriend@gmail.com, and I'll take a look at the energy and do an episode on it. And if you like this kind of content, remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss anything. And thank you for supporting me and my channel. It's growing in leaps and bounds thanks to you. And I appreciate it more than you can know. And as always, I'm Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend. I'll see you in the next one.